What if the very thing you think you're doing for God is quietly pulling you away from Him? What if all that effort to please Him is actually costing you the peace He already promised? I thought that working harder, praying more, serving more, and achieving more was how I could grow closer to God. But instead, I burned out again. And this time, I realized it wasn't my circumstances that were draining me. It was the way I was living my faith. I've been a Christian since I was 10 years old. Faith has always been a part of my life. Following Christ has shaped who I am, the way I think, and how I make decisions. But even with that foundation, I still found myself striving relentlessly toward achievements, toward perfection. For years, I believed such hard work and dedication was a sign of faithfulness. I poured myself into my studies, my career, my service, believing that striving for excellence meant I was honoring God in my work. And honestly, I loved much of it. I loved helping, achieving, learning, creating. But somewhere along the way, my heart grew restless and weary. I started to measure my worth by what I accomplished, even in ministry. When I succeeded, I felt purposeful, like my work was bearing fruit for the kingdom. When I failed, I felt a little lost, unsure of who I was apart from what I could achieve. I didn't see it then, but I was confusing being effective for Him with being aligned with Him. And that kind of faith, no matter how sincere, slowly empties you from the inside out. It makes me think of what the psalmist wrote. Unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain who build it. Psalm 127, 1-2. That was me. Working hard for God, but without really letting Him lead. There came a moment when I just couldn't push any further. The harder I tried to stay strong, the weaker I felt. In that stillness, God showed me that striving can look holy on the outside, but leave you empty on the inside. I realized that all those years when I thought I was serving God, I was really serving myself. My need to feel worthy, my need to feel like I was doing enough. It wasn't pride, it was fear. Fear of falling short, fear of not being enough. And that fear kept me busy, constantly trying to prove my faith instead of living from it. Over time, God reminded me that His presence wasn't something I had to earn or chase. It had been there all along. I was just too busy striving to rest in it. And I began to see that the real cost of striving isn't exhaustion, it's disconnection. That changed everything. I realized you can be serving God and still be far from His peace. God was teaching me, cease striving and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. He was showing me I don't need to prove my faith. I need to know Him. He was teaching me to stop being a Martha for a while, busy serving, distracted by many things, and learn from Mary, who simply sat at His feet and listened. Luke 10:38-42. When I stopped striving for worldly success, I began rebuilding my days with Christ truly at the center. I started practicing what I call the 3W habit: worship, word, and will. Worship reminds me who God is. The word teaches me who He really is, and aligning my will to His through prayer honors who He is. Each day became less about proving and more about abiding. Less about doing and more about just being in Him. I began to understand, by real experience, not just thought, what Jesus meant when He said, "Abide in me, and I in you." I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me and I in him, he bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. John 15:4-5. That's when my faith stopped being about performance and started being about presence. Maybe you felt that same tension, serving, giving, achieving, but quietly losing your sense of peace. You love God, but you're tired. You want to trust him, but you keep taking everything back into your own hands. I know what that feels like, and I also know there's another way. A way that brings stillness back into your soul and reminds you that his strength is where yours ends. As Paul wrote, "And he has said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for power is perfected in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, I will rather boast about my weaknesses so that the power of Christ may dwell in me. For when I am weak, then I am strong." 2 Corinthians 12:9-10. In other words, I don't need to be strong. I need to rest in his strength. I've learned that relentless striving doesn't make your faith stronger. Striving in alignment with his purpose does. Because peace doesn't come from doing more for God. It comes from walking in alignment with him. And if you'd like to learn more about how professional Christian coaching can help you in this endeavor, watch this next video, because when Christ is truly at the center, everything else finally finds its place in him.